Welcome to Software, a plan of action that works. Thank you for attending today. My name is Erin Batz. I have been in commercial design and furnishing for over 20 years, spending 13 of those years specifying Miller-Knoll products. As the Director of Design for American Interiors, I oversee the entirety of our design department across all 5 markets in Tampa and Orlando, Florida, Cleveland and Toledo, Ohio, and Detroit, Michigan. In this role, I recently spearheaded the successful transition from Specification software, launching improved processes. Today, I will be taking you through our digital change story and share insights and tips on how to successfully switch from one software to another. I love this image because at times it feels so true, right? All of our initiatives would have gone great if it weren't for all the people involved. Silliness aside, while it may be hard and messy, it is an honor to lead people through a transformation, no matter how big or small. We just need the right framework. Even small changes like phone updates can send many of us reeling and wanting things back to the way they used to be. So imagine the impact of a broader digital change. Your leaders can see the vision. IT can see the vision. But sadly, many team members cannot. We overestimate what we have because it's easy, and we have the task or program and settings committed to muscle memory. We underestimate what we are about to get in the new future software or tool that can update quicker, interface with CET, and help us all be more efficient. Only 10% of the population in the room love change. You know, those early adopters, while the rest of us push hard against it. Because of this, I want to share our story of digital change and why it's imperative to put people first and have a strategy that supports change at an individual level. Our objective was to transition from CAP 2020 to Project Spec with full integration and company-wide adoption. The strategy was first to prepare, inform, and engage our team members through impactful change activities, tactics, and communication channels. Secondly, we also leveraged our change champions to call people to action and lead by example. Whether a company is undergoing a software change, like in our story, or a large-scale digital transformation, taking the time to plan is vital for success. We began preparing to support and guide individual employees and stakeholders through the transition 2 years prior to the launch. This is essential for a change to be adopted long term. Our business case was that we understand hardware requirements, we evaluated the costs, and then we determined the roles and departments that were going to be impacted and crafted our compelling why. It was essential to select our executive sponsor to be the driver for the change, created a focus group for piloting the program, and a plan for needs including templates, reports, and file exports. It was vital to also name the initiative and develop a communication plan during this period of time. Then we were ready to plan and implement that plan. Year 2 was all about launching the initiative. The compelling why with the timeline and key milestones were rolled out to our entire company. During this time, I was working in the background, preparing our report templates, spreadsheet templates, etc. And our change champions were instrumental with instructing IT on making the installation of the software seamless. We met on a weekly basis and we all got together on how it was best to install and set up for each user so that when the time came to be put on their computer, it was a seamless transition. Do any of you know what the number one reason that initiatives fail? There's multiple choices. Change is hard, a lack of awareness, there was no communication, I was thrown into training, or all of the above. Good job for those of you who thought lack of awareness. So many times, change initiatives are launched through email with a curt, "Be at training on Wednesday," with no connection to why that change is happening or why it is good for the business. You may be surprised to learn that successful change actually starts one person at a time. Training and project management alone will not ensure project success. A change management strategy that uses the ADKAR model increases the probability of project success 7 times. While ADKAR is not lovely to say, it is a proven framework. These fundamental building blocks must be present in your change strategy and implemented in this order. Awareness, understanding that the need for change, the business case and the compelling why, and what happens if we don't change. Desire, what's in it for me? The desire to support and participate in the change and changing the head and the heart. Knowledge, how to change, education and training. Ability, do we have the capacity, the skills, the resources required to make this change? And reinforcement, reflection and sustaining the change, not creating workarounds. The compelling why. If awareness is the reason why changes fail, then we want to build a strong, compelling why the change is happening and how people can take action. We used this simple quadrant method to create our transition to Project Spec's messaging. Project Spec is more powerful than CAP 2020, the easiest product specification package in the industry, faster updates, over 240 manufacturers, seamless integration with CET with one click, and the premier spreadsheet specification software for sales and design. Our story was storytelling creates a deeper connection, success stories and examples. Who else is doing this within our industry? We did reach out to other Miller & Knoll dealers in our industry and inquired about who was on Project Spec and who was on CAP 2020, and that really helped us develop our why. Logic, that's the business case, the reasons for the change, the evidence, and what happens if we don't change. Emotion, what's in it for me? I need a personal connection, a feeling. You're appealing to the heart of the employees. The values, their ego. And then visual. This helps people see the change. We're visual thinkers and we're visual learners. So overall, our goal is to just build awareness, communicate and connect, and relate why the change applies to each person. Take action and then adopt the change. This is a simple way of looking at the change readiness and the sphere of influence of an organization. Executives and senior leaders play such a key role as sponsors of change. Selecting the right people to drive change is crucial. Executive and primary sponsors give the initiative credibility, authorize funding and resources, and perform important employee-facing activities. People in the organization look to these individuals at the top to demonstrate why the change is necessary and perform other critical activities as only they can. Executive sponsor is the visionary of the change and can drive outcomes. The primary sponsor is the day-to-day, in-the-weeds agent of change. In simple term, green means go, our early adopters. Red means no, who are our resistors and our naysayers. You know who they are. Seasoned veterans, been with the company for a long time. We tried this before and it didn't work mentality. Yellow, our tweeners. They're on the fence. Using ADKAR, we're trying to flip as many red and yellow to green as possible. Remember, resistance is not a bad thing. We just need a strategy around it. Change champions. Whether we're volunteered or voluntold, empowering employees to be change agents for new ways of working, thinking, acting, and in our case, specifying, is vital to the initiative. Change champions serve as trustworthy peers that can lead, listen, mitigate, coach, and advocate throughout the transition. Our group consisted of a mix of roles: sales, design, and account managers, to ensure we covered all of our bases. Now, with us having 5 offices, we selected 2 per office for 10 total in our focus group change champions. And we did do a mix of cross-functional roles: sales, design, and account managers. This helped us ensure that we were, hitting all the bases and making sure no one was going to be left out in how we were rolling this out, what our education and learning plan looked like, and also our communication plan. Naming a change initiative has transformative power. It inspires momentum, signals change, and helps create stickiness. People pay attention when communications connect to the name and the logo. In our example, we landed on Kick the Cap, a play on Kick the Can. This eventually became Project Spec University, as it was a familiar internal platform that we use already. So when emails went out and communication went out, we always made sure to title it Kick the Cap. People knew what they were going to be expecting in the communication. Project Spec University is where we continued our office hours, and also our learning sessions were called the university. So they knew they were going into the education portion of the transition. Utilizing the ADKAR model for individual change, we formulated a comprehensive communication strategy that incorporated milestone dates to keep us on track and leveraged multiple channels to effectively engage sales, design, and account managers. Because adults need to hear new information to learn it 7 times, we offered a variety of communication mediums. This kept us on task for when we needed to communicate to our internal team members. Again, this spanned over 2 years and was meant to be a live, flexible document if you need to pivot. So you can see on this chart, we had our tactics, our content, and then how we were going to distribute that content and when. And this kept us on task. This is just a continued snapshot of that communication plan as we're working through the transition. Lastly, taking it all the way to full integration and final share out to the company on our success, and share some positive success stories with the whole company. Being prepared in the program was integral to our successful launch of Project Spec. It was crucial to make sure that all templates were created and completed, file paths set up for each new user, and custom catalogs were stored and created. Because we still had both programs running and downloaded the content at the same time, it was important to identify the primary manufacturers to pre-download from Notify for each user to get started. We didn't want to overload their C drive by downloading all of the catalog and symbol data for both CAP and Project Spec. So we picked our top 5 manufacturers, and then those manufacturers were used as our practice exercises during the learning. We also taught each user how to operate the Catalog Manager and Project Notify to activate the manufacturers after the full launch and when CAP 2020 was removed from their computer. We wanted to empower them to be able to do that on their own. During this time, we also took to develop our learning curriculum from the Change Champions feedback during the focus group period. So print templates and report templates were created. Spreadsheet templates were created per sales, a bill of materials, design, and auditing. You will tweak that based on how your dealership operates. We identified the primary manufacturer catalogs to be pre-downloaded. Our custom catalogs were created and mapped to the server, and then mapped in every single person's launch of downloading the program. We use custom catalogs a lot for our legacy clients, and also we have some internal custom line items as far as like install, freight, tariffs, etc., that each user drags and drops into a spec, and all of the wording is consistent. Bite-sized learning. So, where do you think we are in the ADKAR model? Right, knowledge. Our learning schedule aimed to teach the fundamentals of Project Spec and provide support leading up to the full launch. All training sessions were conducted live and in person each week, which helped us focus and get questions answered quickly. The curriculum was developed and written based on feedback collected during the Change Champions pilot period. The educational sessions addressed areas identified by the pilot team as to where our people would need additional support. Based on our timeline and topics developed, we could offer a 5-week training schedule. We continued to promote becoming resourceful through Configura's support page and watching the video tutorials throughout their individual learning period. This was not a one and done concept where you would just come to the weekly learning session and you would be an expert in Project Spec. We really encouraged them that between the weeks that they were opening, using the program, and also watching videos on their own to be prepared for the next week. We provided breakfast every week for the 5 weeks to encourage people to come and be live and in person. It was also important to make sure that one of your change champions was present at each weekly training session to answer live questions. Configura also has a wonderful offering of learning programs for you to decide what's best for your dealership. Understanding who our people are and how they learn and the number of locations and users we have, it was best for us to develop our own learning curriculum internally. But as you can see on this slide, there are several options to choose from, and your Configura rep would help you figure out which one would be best for you. Collecting and analyzing employee feedback is helpful during the ADKAR ability and reinforcement steps. When we are assessing performance and confidence in early stages of the change adoption, we ask, how are you doing? What is preventing you from being productive and efficient? Employee answers help us beef up strategies around additional learning, time, and resources needed. Short, quick pulse surveys are perfect throughout the initiative. Survey again as you enter in sustaining the change. Asking team members, now where are you? Are you feeling confident and competent in specifying in the new platform? Where do you need additional support? Reporting software glitches, issues, and concerns to IT and Configura are also critical means of feedback to identifying systems versus software versus user error. Based on the survey results, we introduced weekly virtual office hours for team members to ask questions and receive answers. We also set up a Project Spec team in our American Interiors channel to share FAQs and lessons learned. Celebrating successes not only increases morale, but it builds support among those that may need to see it to believe it. In the end, we can do hard things. Now, if we can do this hard initiative, we can do the next and the next. Now we have built change competency into the organization so we can be nimble when the business pivots. We did have some lessons learned along the way, however. The first was we should have done a better job giving our managers one-on-one coaching, communication, and education prior to launching the change initiative so that they could help us support their users instead of just our executive sponsor. We should have trickled down to the general managers as well. Setting up one-on-one tech support was necessary to deinstall old software and install the new in 10 minutes. So we pivoted during our transition and set up a calendar link where users could click on the link and set a 10-minute one-on-one tech support call with IT to get that done quickly and not rely on the user to have to do it themselves. Also, leveraging our change champions in each office to provide one-on-one support was a huge help. It's okay to pivot, but resist going back to the old software, right? We continued to push that message when people were having struggles or complaining was that we hear you, but we are not going back. We're still moving forward. So how can I support you? Developing multiple ways to train and support is going to be critical because not everyone learns the same. And then provide ongoing weekly office hours. Ours is 6 months long, weekly for half an hour. Thank you so much. I look forward to hearing from you.